My name is Victoria Winters. If a night wind had not cleared the mists from the cliffs that lead from Collinwood to the sea, no one would know that a giant storm is slowly approaching. It hovers on the horizons, but its advance is as inexorable as the advance of time itself in the journey from day to night. And there is a woman near Collinwood, a young woman, who seems to reflect in her spirit the tranquility of the day as it waits helplessly for the coming storm that the night will surely bring.
You awake?
Joe, what are you doing here?
I'm just spilling coffee, making noise, the usual. Listen, I didn't mean to wake you up. You go back to sleep.
What are you doing here? I wasn't
You weren't what? Now, take it easy, Maggie.
walking in my sleep again, was I?
No. As a matter of fact, you slept most of the night.
How long have you been here?
Well, just a couple of hours. Your pop had to go out, and so I took over for him.
I must be getting better if I slept so well.
How do you feel now?
Tired. If I slept so well...
Well, as a matter of fact...
What?
Well, it's really only since sunup that you've stopped being so restless.
I was restless?
You must have been having some terrible dreams.
I don't remember.
Well, it's probably because you let yourself get so upset last night before you went to sleep.
Upset.
Don't you remember? You wanted to go out.
Go out?
Your father said he practically had to tie you down.
I don't remember. Joe, I don't remember. Then in a way, I was walking in my sleep when I tried to get out.
So maybe you could bring it all back if you tried.
When did all this happen?
Well, very late last night. So maybe you could remember it like a dream.
Joe, I
Oh,
can't.
now, please, try, Maggie. Look, I'll help you if I can. Maybe you could start out by remembering something about turning up at the cemetery the night before last.
Joe, maybe one of the reasons why I'm so tired is that everyone keeps asking me questions. Yesterday, Doc Woodward and Pop, they kept asking me questions, nothing but questions.
Well, they're just trying to help you, Maggie.
I know that, Joe. Why won't they let me rest when I'm so tired?
Well, maybe it's possible you can't get better until some explanations are found. But I know it's tough on you, Maggie, but what other solution is there?
Maybe there is no solution.
And maybe there's no problem. Maybe you are just a little run down and all you need is rest.
Rest. Sleep. I'm so tired.
Okay. So why didn't you just try to ignore me and go right back to sleep?
Joe, you don't have to stay here with me.
Now, if I'll just sit here and watch?
That doesn't seem fair to you.
Oh. Who cares about fair?
What's the matter?
Nothing.
Does my throat really look that bad?
No, it's just a couple of little marks, Maggie.
Then why did you look at it then?
They're almost healed, honestly.
Well, why did you look at it that way?
I don't know. Well, maybe it's just because nobody really knows what happened. Nobody knows how you got them.
What are you thinking?
Nothing. Except that they do remind me of how little we know about your illness. And
It scares you?
No, it's just that, well, you can't blame me for worrying about you just a little bit.
Don't.
Don't what?
Don't worry about me.
Okay, I won't. What's the matter?
Nothing.
Maggie, you act all of a sudden as if you're sore at me or something.
Go away, Joe.
Oh, no. We've already had that argument. And I told your father that I was going to stay right here until he got back.
Go away. I don't want you to come here anymore.
What are you talking about?
Don't want to see you again. Ever.
Maggie, what is it? What did I say? What did I do?
Made up my mind. We're not going to see each other anymore.
Maggie, what is it makes you say things like that?
Go away, Joe. I mean it. Go away. Don't come back.
Sam won't be back till later tonight, so look, if you could come, I'd appreciate it. I've got some things I have to do at work.
Of course. I'll be there right away. Is she any better?
Well, she's been asleep most of the day.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
But whenever she wakes up, she acts kind of strange.
How do you mean?
Well, I'll tell you when you get here.
All right. I'll be there as soon as I can.
If you're thinking of going out, I advise against it. A real storm coming up.
A friend of mine is sick.
Yes, so I gather. Oh, I wasn't eavesdropping. I just simply couldn't help overhearing. But my advice against the storm still stands.
I'll be all right. It's Maggie Evans. She can't be left alone.
She can't be left alone. I didn't realize she was that ill.
It's not that she's that sick.
I see. But you must cross the country in a raging storm to be at the bedside. Vicky, your goodness is obviously without limits.
It has nothing to do with goodness. Someone has to be with her to make sure that she doesn't get up.
Now, Maggie Evans is a grown girl. Surely an appeal to adult responsibility towards one's health should be sufficient.
Please, Mr. McGuire. I haven't got time to explain, but she's been found walking in her sleep.
Oh?
And she could hurt herself. As a matter of fact, the other night she was found wandering up in a cemetery on Eagles Hill.
The cemetery in Eagle Hill?
Yes, that's where we found her.
Now, has she done this kind of thing before?
No, and we've got to make sure she doesn't do it again.
Yes, well. How did it even occur to you to look for her in a cemetery?
I got a phone call.
A phone call? From who?
Listen, I've really got to get there as soon as I can. I'd like to get there before this storm breaks.
Vicky, I know you're in a hurry, but tell me, who saw her at the cemetery?
He wouldn't say who he was.
And all this time she was just walking in her sleep? Huh?
Yes, she was. Or it was something like that. She couldn't remember anything. She had cut herself, and it didn't even wake her up.
Cut herself?
Yes. She had 2 deep wounds on her neck. So you can see how fast asleep she must have been.
Oh, yes, I see.
Well, if Mrs. Stoddard is looking for me, will you tell her where she can find me?
Oh, of course, but please, I know you're in a hurry, but, well, it's all so mysterious. Would you mind one more question?
What is it?
Well, what explanation did the doctor give for her condition?
He didn't give any. Doesn't know what's wrong with her.
I see. Well, I suppose you better hurry or the storm will catch up with you.
What do you want?
There you are. Didn't you hear my banging?
Well, I was upstairs. What do you want?
Answers, Willie. Answers.
Answers to what?
To some very specific questions.
I don't have any answers, not to anything.
No? I'm afraid that you do, Willie. And you're going to tell them to me. Willie, what happened to you? Your face. All right. I'm not going to concern myself with what happened to you. I just want you to tell me all you know.
Why should I?
There are too many coincidences, Willie. Eagle Hill Cemetery was the cemetery you went to, wasn't it? And that's the cemetery where they found that girl.
When I was there was a long time ago.
And I'm supposed to assume that you've never been back there since? Well, I assume exactly the opposite.
Now what? What would I want there?
I don't know. At first I was certain you were after those jewels buried with members of the Collins family. Now I don't know. But I intend to find out, Willie.
I had nothing to do with that girl being there. Now please, leave me alone.
Allow me to mention one more coincidence, Willie.
It has nothing to do with me.
Oh, no?
What do you do?
Those wounds on your arm.
What about them?
You got them the night you went to that cemetery, Willie.
What's that got to do with anything?
And according to Vicky, when they found the girl, she had marks. Wounds, punctures in her neck.
Well, you don't think that I had any?
I don't know, Willie. But I'm positive that you know something about the entire matter.
Well, you said yourself it was all coincidence.
Nonsense! The similarities are much too close to be explained away by coincidence, Willie.
There is no other explanation. I wouldn't hurt that girl, not for anything. I'd even...
You'd even what, Willie?
Nothing.
You'd even protect her. Isn't that what you were going to say?
Well, I don't even know her. She means nothing to me.
Oh. Vicky mentioned a phone call, telling her where Maggie was, and that she was in some kind of danger. Now, you wouldn't by any chance be the man who made that phone call, would you?
How could I be when all of this means nothing to me?
Well, no, I never suspected you of having a conscience, Willie. But you've been behaving so strange lately, anything is possible.
I didn't make any phone calls, and I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, now, Willie, you listen to me, and listen carefully.
I have things I have to do.
Well, the first thing you do is pay close attention. Now, I'm letting you stay on here, because you seem to be reformed somewhat. And Mr. Collins is kind enough to give you some work. But if you're up to something, if you're involved in something that'll bring the authorities swarming all over Collingwood, I want it stopped. And immediately. I'm not going to allow my plans to be jeopardized by you, or anyone else. Now, is that clear?
I have things I have to do.
I said, is that clear?
It's dark. It's almost time for me to light the
I
candle.
want an answer!
Maybe you should just forget your questions.
I have no intentions of forgetting them, Willie.
That might not be the wise thing to do.
Are you threatening me, Willie?
No?
Well, that's certainly what it sounded like to me.
Well, but to me, it sounded like a warning.
Or threat or warning. I don't need either from you.
All right. But at the moment, it's all I have to give. And now you'll have to excuse me. Mr. Collins doesn't like my entertaining guests.
You know what happened to that girl, don't you, Willie?
I know it's dark.
Just tell me one thing. Between the two of us, it's the one thing I can't quite understand. Did you make that phone call? That's not like you, Willie. Were you the one, Willie? Tell me. Were you?
You know me better than that, don't you?
I thought so, but now I'm not so sure, Willie. I may have to get to know you all over again. Because I'm going to find out what you're up to. Oh, I'm going to find out, Willie. I promise you.
Fortunately, you're not a man who keeps his promises. Fortunately for you, that is.
I'd like to think that it's just because she isn't feeling so hot, but believe me, it's more than that.
You said that she was sort of edgy.
Yeah, but this is different. She was handing out walking papers, and no mistake about it.
I wouldn't take anything she says too seriously while she's not feeling well.
It's a little hard not to.
I know. But she'll be herself again.
I hope it's soon, Vicki. I was in that room with her most of the day. I never missed her so much in my life.
Joe. Joe.
Maggie? How are you feeling?
Joe's gone.
Yes. I thought that I'd sit with you for a while until your father comes home.
Is it night yet?
Yes. Joe said you've gotten a lot of rest during the day. How do you feel?
Better.
Does the lightning frighten you?
Of course not. It's a shame to spoil the beautiful darkness.
Well, I don't know whether I'll ever get over my childhood fear of the dark.
There's nothing to be afraid of in the dark.
I know.
I never realized how much I liked it. Guess I never really thought about it one way or the other. Sad.
Why is it sad?
Sad that I loved the darkness so much and I never knew it. Maybe that's why I'm feeling so much better, now that I know that it's dark outside.
Maybe. Maggie, I know this is none of my business.
What?
Well, just before he left, Joe mentioned something about you not wanting to see him again.
Joe.
He's awfully upset.
Joe's gone.
I told him it was probably just because you weren't feeling well.
He mustn't come back.
Maggie, you don't mean that. I know how much Joe means to you.
Joe must never come back. I never want to see him again. As long as I live.
I don't understand.
The lightning. It's like one quick day all in a moment. And then it's night for a long, long time.
Maggie, shouldn't you be back in bed?
Why should I be in bed? I'm not sick.
You're probably very weak.
I felt so strong in my life.
Please, Maggie, get back into bed. Please.
Leave me alone.
I think you should just lie quietly. Maggie, what's wrong? Maggie, are you all right?
No! Leave them! They've got to stay...
Maggie!
It's all right. It's all right now. It's all right.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.